servers and services. So I have a system, I have another system like this. Okay. So we have an individual computers. So in one computer, we have a data. From another computer required that data. Or maybe one computer is connected to a printer. Okay. So I want to access that printer. For example, we'll put a name A, B, C, D. This is printer P. Okay. A device contains data. So we want to access that data. So these devices are connected in the network. This symbolic representation of devices connected in the network. So A accessing the data. So B accessing the data which is in the A. Where is the data? In A. From where you are accessing? From B. For example, through network you are accessing, right? So, but there is no centralized control. To access A's data, B should know A system, username, password, and IP address also. If B knows A system, username, password, and IP address, so B can able to access the A's data through sharing of data. Example, one of my system, I have a data in that system. So I should know their IP address, okay, and username, password. Of course, I'm accessed already, so then it is not asking username, password. First time if I'm accessing, definitely it asks for the username and password. So it is the data. See, I can able to see the data. I can upload the data here. I can able to download the data from here. So this is simple. So A contains data, B from access, but no centralized control. Again, D system connected to a printer, and this printer is shared from D. So C system want to access the printer. So then C system required D system IP address, username, password to connect to the D to access the printer. Okay, but there is no centralized control. So this model we call it as peer-to-peer model. What is peer-to-peer? Two or more systems are communicating, means sharing of data, resources, or information between the system without centralization. It is a kind of workgroup model. It is a kind of workgroup model. In workgroup model, there is no centralization. Each individual PC has their own username, password, and an IP address. When they are trying to communicate other system, they should know other systems. Means if they accessing other system resources, okay, other system data, so then we require to know their IP address, username, passwords. No centralized control, peer-to-peer model. Again, in this one, A contains the data, B accessing the data. So A is providing data, storage, B accessing that one. Means A is like a server, B is like a client. But A is not a exactly storage server. A is a system, that's it. A is just accessing that one, is like a client. In this particular instance, A is server, B is client. In this particular instance only. Okay. Same thing for a D. Through D, we can able to connect it to the D's printer. So you're connected to D, so then you can able to access the D's printer. So in this particular instance, D is like a print server and C is like a client. Okay, but there is no specific server and client model it is. So this model is server and client model. Sorry, peer-to-peer model. Again, I have a web server, maybe a file server, maybe a mail server. It means I have a server. It can be a web server. For example, if it is a web server, what is the web server will do? Provide a web pages. So user from system A or B or C or D want to access the website, so they will connect it to A. So they should know their IP address. Okay. So then you are accessing their website. So B is accessing the website from the web server. So the server, which is like a server 1, or maybe you can put a name S1. This is always a server, and that is a specific server also. This is always a server and a specific server it is. So users in the network from their devices, they can able to access that server related services. So the server can be a web server, mail server, database server. Think like it is a database server. We are accessing data from it. We insert the data inside. We retrieve the data from database server. Okay, the server. This is server and client model. So the client request for a services to the server. Server provide that particular services to the client. Of course, it depends upon the what server it is. You request for that server. For example, it is a web server. We send HTTP request. We'll send HTTP request. Then we get HTTP response. HTTP request we send. We got a HTTP response as a web page. Ah, what happened to me? So this is server and client mode. Server provides services, client access that services. Exactly say client request for the service. The server. I need a database connectivity. I need a database service. So to whom I have to connect and get it? Database server. So I have to send a request to the database server. Then database server understand your request. We provide database connectivity. So then you can access the data. Okay. So I want to send a mail. So I should know where is a mail server. So to the mail server, I will send mails. I will send mail to the mail server. So mail server understand what is my request. It process my request. It provide a response. Okay. So client send a request to the server. Server respond to the client. But what request, what client, how they will understand based on the protocol. What is that request? What is the response? How the client and server understand based on the protocol. For mail services, SMTP POP3 and the client is mail client, server side mail server. So what is the protocol? SMTP POP3 and web server, web server, client, web client. Web browser is a client application. Web browser is a client application. Other side, it is a web server. How they will understand? If I send a web request, how the web server understand based on the protocol HTTP, HTTPS port number 80443. Okay. So you call a server as a particular server. Now I told like a web server, mail server, database server. We calling a server as a particular server based on its service it is providing. Based on what service it is providing, we call that server as a that particular server. Web server provide web services, website we are accessing. Mail server provide mail related services. Database server provide database related services. You can connect and store your data and retrieve your data. Okay. Different servers, like a storage server can store your data. You can connect and store your data and access your data. Print server will provide a print related services. You want to take a printout, you send the request, the print server process it and send that to the printer, printer print it like that, right? So a server which provide a specific type of service, we call that server as that. Based on that service only, we call that server as a specific server. Okay. How server become particular server? How a server become particular server? Okay. How a server become particular server? So it is like this. You by installing or configuring, installing and configuring the server related built-in roles or features, or by installing server applications and configuration, or server installation and packaging. For example, I have a Linux server like this. Okay. In this server, if I install Apache HTTPD, Apache HTTP, if I install that one, it is become web server. If I install SFTP or VSFTPD, then it is become FTP server. If I install Zimbra application in this server, it become mail server. Okay. If I install a Jenkins application inside, it becomes Jenkins server. CI by CD server. Okay. Just for example, if I install Open LDAP, it is become authentication server. Okay. So by installing and configuring the built-in roles or features of a machine, or in, by installing a specific server application, configuring or by installing that related packages, the server become a specific type of server. Guys, understand what is peer-to-peer, server and client, and how they will understand what kind of service based on the protocol. Check your protocol networking. There I discuss protocol and their port number. Check the port numbers and protocols also. HTTP, FTP, HTTPS, SSH, Telnet, RDP, okay, SMTP, POP3, IMAP. Check those protocol. Each protocol for a different type of services purpose. Okay. Next, what are the servers based on what service it is provided? Here some examples. Already we said no, web server, file server, DHCP server, DNS server, domain controller or Active Directory domain controller, WDS server, WSUS server, VPN server, storage server, database server, virtualization server. Okay. Not only this, so many servers also. So many different other types of servers also there. Just I given some most commonly using servers. Our as per our well-known type. So what is a web server will do? Provide web pages, right? What protocol? HTTP, HTTPS. To make a server as a web server by installing Apache HTTP. If it is a Microsoft server, install Microsoft IIS Internet Information Service. Microsoft IIS role and configure it. That server is become a web server and application server. Tomcat is a web and application server. Glassfish is another web server. NGINX is another web server application. By installing these application into a server, it is become a web server. But not only installation, install and configuring it. File server, FTP. You can upload a file and download a file to the remote server. It's a file server. Okay. The protocol is FTP. With encryption means SFTP, VSFTP or encrypted type. DHCP, DHCP server. What DHCP server will do? It assign an IP address to our client devices. We are getting an IP address from a DHCP server. DNS server. I open a different websites, right? Here it is devocs.google.com. Here it is youtube.com. Here it is studio.youtube.com. Okay. Or maybe udemy.com, microsoft.com. So when I open that particular website, or I am trying to communicate with some remote device with their name, but I don't know their IP address. So my system send a request to the DNS server. The DNS servers give their IP address. So I'm asking google.com or facebook.com, youtube.com. I know the names, but I don't know their IP address. What our system will do, system also don't know. System send a request to the DNS server, and DNS server will give you the IP address of google.com, IP address of youtube.com, IP address of microsoft.com like that. So your system knows the IP address. So then it will communicate with the google.com, facebook.com, youtube.com with their IP address only. All communications by IP address only. But we can't remember all the IP address of the devices. Specifically, we don't know their other system IP address, which you are asking with the names. But we should communicate with IP. Who will give DNS server? The DNS server also completed. Yeah. So what is the DNS server will do? It resolve your name to IP address. You give a name, it will give you the IP address of that remote system. You give www.facebook.com name to the DNS server. DNS server give IP address of www.google.com. So you got to know the IP address, then you can able to communicate. Okay, that is a DNS server. It resolve name to IP address. Active Directory domain controller. What is this domain controller? It is a centralized authentication server. In our home networks, we don't use it, but in organizations, the users, when they log into their computers, a centralized authentication server is there. It authenticate those users. Okay, we'll go into that one, but still simply say a domain controller or a Active Directory domain controller is a server which authenticate users, centralized authentication system. WDS, Windows Deployment Server. Windows Deployment Server. So you want to install an operating system into a multiple system at a time. So you got a 10 system, you have to install the OS. You have to connect a CD or pen drive to the system. Then you have to boot from the CD or pen drive, and then you have to install the OS on the website. But in a WDS system, through network, you can install the OS to the system directly. Okay. Windows deployment for installing operating system through network purpose. WSUS. WSUS. It is also Microsoft Windows Update Services. Windows Server Update Services. What is that? Guys, individually are getting updates. Your operating system related updates, critical updates are security updates, okay, feature related updates. Your operating system application will get updates. We are not controlling it, so generally, so let it up. In organization, lot of systems also there. Organizations, there is a hundreds of subcomputers. I want to download all the update files. Think like you have one system, update is available, you download the update, update size is 1 GB. For example, I have 100 computers. I want to update it individually. Means each one is downloading up to 1 GB. Means 100 GB data you are downloaded for 100 systems. Just for example. In WSCS, we can customize what are the things must be get updated, what are not required. Some are paid related, some advertisement. Find out what are the updates you are giving to our system in the organization. In the WSCS server, will mention those things. WSCS server download those updates and install those updates into their client systems. WSCS, Windows Server Update Services. Mail server, we are able to send and receive mails because of mail servers. Of course, we protocol we use SMTP, POP3, and IMAP. Microsoft Exchange, Zimra, like an example of mail servers. Example of mail servers. Next. VPN server, we know. Yesterday only we discussed virtual private network. VPN server allow your remote users to connect their infrastructure in an encrypted manner using different tunneling protocols. Okay. Storage server. Different storage server solutions are there. NAS type, SAN type of storage servers. To store your data, file-wise you can able to store, block-wise also you can able to store. Database server. You take a machine, install Oracle DB application, it's become database server. Or if you install Microsoft SQL Server, then it is become database server. MySQL, so it is become database server. It's connected to the database server. Put your database in the database server. Virtualization server. So this is centralized virtualization process. So in virtualization server, we have a hypervisors. What are these hypervisors? Hyper-V, VMware ESXi, Citrix Zen servers, Proxmox EV, Oracle Enterprise Linux. These are the different hypervisors. You can take it, install into your system. Okay, take the hypervisor, install into your server. It is providing virtualization related solutions. Example, you can create and run in the virtual machine. Where am I? Virtualization, yeah, centralized server it is. We can able to create and run the virtual machine in the centralized server by installing and configuring any of these hypervisor applications. Just a minute. Okay. Next, these are the different servers based on what service it is provided. Guys, understand?
Sir,
Yeah. SAN, storage area network, NAS, network attached storage. Okay. The storage solutions. Next, what are the different server operating system? Different servers provide different type of services. How they will provide it? By installing and configuring the server related application or packages or their server built-in roles or features, right? But where we do it? In the server operating system. Who are there? From Microsoft, Windows Server operating systems are there. The current version is 2025. Windows Server operating system. Current version is 2025. Earlier one 2022, 2019, 2016, 2012, 28, 2008, 2003, 2000 and NT. These are the different server operating system versions. Current version is 2025. Again, Linux. Linux is not direct voice. Okay. Linux based operating systems are there. Means different organization took a Linux kernel and developed different Linux operating system. Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu, Oracle Enterprise Linux, Amazon Linux, okay, Kali Linux. So different Linux flavors are there. Almost all that Linux based operating system are used for server purpose only. Okay. Even you take a Ubuntu desktop, we can use it for a desktop purpose as well as server purpose also. Ubuntu desktop, Ubuntu server, both are there, separately. Unix, of course, Unix or Unix like a system, Unix based devices, Solaris, Sun Microsystem, Solaris. Now it is under Oracle order. HPUX, AS by 400, Z by OS. These are all different type of Unix flavor operating system also. Virtualization server. Virtualization server, in that one, direct hypervisors are there. These hypervisors directly we are installing into a machine like a OS. How you install a OS? The same way we are installing this hypervisor into our computers. For there, Microsoft Hyper-V server, VMware vSphere or ESXi, Zen server, Proxmox. These are all directly we can able to install on the physical machine. Okay. So we are coming from top layer, right? So first one we discuss about services. Based on what services? The servers. So by installing that related applications and configure it, all built-in roles or features installation and configure it. So a system able to provide the particular services. But where we can able to install on an operating system, on the machines, right? Who are there? With Microsoft, Windows servers, Linux servers, Unix servers, like that. And finally, where your hard OS is running, where your services are running, where is your operating system and the hardware. Now we'll see the hardware part. Generally, guys, we are having i3, i5, i7, like these processors are not generally used for server purposes. For server purposes, separate motherboards, separate processor, RAMs also there. Mainly processor and motherboard is different from our regular desktop or laptop motherboard and processor. Mainly the processor is Xeon processor they use it. Okay. RAM capacity, multiple RAM slots on the motherboard. Even in single motherboard, multiple processors we can able to insert it, multiple RAM slots also there. Because servers has to run 24/7. In my laptop works from morning 10 to evening 6:30. Okay. When I came to office, like a 9:30 I came or 9 o'clock I came, 10 o'clock, 10:30 I came. So I will open my laptop, start it. It runs till the evening 6:30. One session completed, shut down, close, bye bye. If in case something is required, I have to do some work, then I will do again. I will open in my home. Otherwise, not. Right? Most of the desktop laptop, when people are working, that time only it is done. Once no work, then we shut down the system. But server has to run 24/7 for continuous providing of services. So for that one, the hardware capacity also different. 1 second, guys. Check the difference between blade, rack, and tower servers in the list. Okay. So in a 1 minute, so I will explain those things. I will show you that models also. Okay. Tower server, rack server, blade server. This is a tower server, rack server, blade server. Okay. The tower server is look like your desktop only, but it is bigger in the size. Okay. Multiple RAM slots, multiple storage space is also there. So different servers and with a different cost is also there. Okay. This is Dell Power HT360 tower server. See the cost? Okay. So what are there? Xeon E2400 series processor is there. It's a system, but we capacity wise 2.4, 2.6 gigahertz processor, 8 core 16 threads processor, 24 MB cache memory, DDR5 compatible means it's a new server it is. So built-in one 16 GB RAM is there. So we can able to put a 4 RAMs inside. Like 16, 16, 16 like that we can put it. Maximum capacity somewhere we have to search for that one. Okay. So RAID compatibility built-in RAID compatibility. Hard disk, SAS disk is inserted inside. Yeah. So like this, this is called a tower server. Best is go to images. There you can able to see a different types of tower server. Inside of the tower server. Okay, it looks like a normal desktop only, but the different capacity wise. This is better. See, these are the additional external storage. Just you have to press the button and pull. You can pull that disk outside. Okay, it is normally SAS disk. Means iSCSI, serial attached SCSI disk, or sometimes SATA hard disk also. Okay. For your organization is medium or a small size organizations required a server for centralized authentication or file management or access management purpose. Then we can go with a tower server. So in organization, so required 2, 3 or 4 servers are required. We go for tower servers, simple. But tower servers are costly. Again, occupy more space, more cabling requirement is there. Okay, more space it is occupied, more cabling requirement, power supply connectivities, cabling requirement, and more space occupation of a tower server. So, if your organization requires small number of servers, then we go for a tower servers. Next one is blade servers. These blade servers is simply a server, one blade, one server type, one blade, one server. Sorry, not blade. It is I have written blade. Sorry, so rack. One rack, one server. Okay. So this is the rack is inserting the rack or pulling the rack outside of this uh, big rack means in a data center. So these racks also in a different sizes of racks also available. Different models of racks is also available. So one rack is equivalent to the same as a tower server, but the difference is rack occupy less space. Okay, with a full capacity means multiple processor support, multiple RAM support, SSD support is there, SCSI, SAS disk support is also there. We can able to insert multiple. Yes, a complete server model is a rack server. Okay, this is not rack. This is a blade rack. This is the rack server. There are rack servers. Depends upon the server model, the size, capacity, configuration, okay, connections are there. These are the racks. As I said, what is this? This is the blade server. Is inserting a blade into the rack. So one blade is one server, one rack, one server, one tower, one server, one blade, one server. This is the blade. The blade is comparatively tower and rack server capacity wise less. Your organization required more computing rather than the storage. We store data separately in the storage arrays, and this we use this blade for a processing purpose only. The blades are not meant for processing, high processing purpose, not meant for this high data storages. Rack and rack and tower servers, both processing and storage. Blades mainly processing, not storage. The storage generally outside of the your rack. Rack. See, this is one rack, and these are different blades. This is one rack case. Like this is also one rack case. Inside, lot of blades are there. Each blade is a server. In a rack server, one rack, one complete server. Here it is one rack, multiple blades. Each blade is a one server. It is a blade server. Of course, it will take lot of time. Not lot of time. It depends upon your luck. You may able to go inside a data center to work on these things. But it is all depends upon your experience, knowledge, and certifications regarding the data center administration. That knowledge is required. Okay, it is either is inserting or removing blade from that blade rack. Okay, you can go to YouTube also. Just try open anything from YouTube. Mhm. That is server blade, one blade. Still is using a pictures, not the original one. Only picture part. But you can able to see the original. Is inserting. So this is one unit. It's a completely one single unit with wheels. Okay, each one is a one plate. You don't want much, that is. Okay. So finally we came to the data center. So what is a data center? So you have seen this blade server, rack server, okay, storage servers, like this. You have seen the people who are inserting the blades into here. See, this is a data center. See, these are all different data centers. What is this data center contains? Servers, okay, storage devices. Servers run different types of applications. So where your all applications use Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, Facebook, Gmail, where this all runs in the big data centers, in the data centers, in a servers, in the servers. And of course, we are asking means it need to connect it to network. So networking devices, switches, routers, firewalls, devices also there. Fiber optical connectivity, UTP, STP connections also there. Fiber optical based connections, storage, SAN type of storages, NAS type of storages, storage connectivities. Okay. This data center maintenance appliances like what we say monitoring tools are also important. What we say, um, yeah, ESXi machines, PoE switches. So like different types of things in the your data center depends upon your infrastructure requirement for your organization. Okay. So what is a data center contains? Different servers. Maybe tower server, rack servers, blade servers. Different types of application runs in these servers for different type of services purpose. Different type of services purpose, different type of servers runs in their application runs. Different network components used to connect these servers for service purpose. We need a router, switches, fiber optical cables, UTP, STP cables, HBA, host bus adapter for fiber optical NICs, Ethernet based connections, firewall for protecting your network from outside uh, access, unauthorized accesses. Storages, different types of storage devices, different type of storage types, different type of storage solutions also available. Okay. So this is what it is, a data center. To manage this data center, you have to provide a cooling system, a multiple power supply solutions. Direct electricity power supplies is required. UPS, inverters, um, what we say, generators. So different type of power supply connectivity. And continuous monitoring of data center is also is important. Some people only works on the data center monitoring. Even they find it is a boring, but it is very important in the IT organizations. So this is a very small data center. It's a home data center reported as a data center. So these are Dell cabinets, which is these five are running, these blades are running. So these racks are running with a OpenStack application. OpenStack is an open source private cloud platform. So cloud management, backend application it is. PoE switch for IP4. Guys, normal Ethernet cables provide a data transmission only. But you want to connect IP telephones, Wi-Fi hotspots. So they need a additional power supply. Instead of giving extra power supply from that chargers, we can also give power supply through our Ethernet cables. To do that one, we have to connect our data Ethernet cables to a PoE switch. From PoE switch, it is add your data plus two lines for a power supply. Okay, it's a PoE, power over Ethernet. We can able to send power supply through this Ethernet cables for specific type of device, not for every device. 10 TB, 10 terabyte of RAID 6. This is because the SAN type of storage things are there, and fiber optical SAN is also there. Xeon processor, uh, there is a racks with a ESXi, means virtualization server is running there. Okay, vCenter server is running here. This fiber optical connections are connected and maintained from these fiber optical switches. Okay, so this is about your data. Guys, understand any questions, doubts regarding
Yes, sir.
servers? Yeah,
So could you please tell me what is meant by proxy server?
proxy server.
Yes, sir.
A proxy, actually, what is the word is a proxy means instead of like that, we have a servers or maybe certain devices we are there, and this is the proxy server. So the server means the machine having IP address. For example, you are asking some system means some remote system you are accessing, some remote device, some website you are accessing from your system. So you are sending your packet with your IP address only, right? With your IP address only you are sending. This is direct one. But what is a proxy means? This is a proxy server. We are sending through this proxy server. So for example, this is IP1, IP2, IP3, and this is IPA. Okay. So we are sending through proxy server means the proxy server means instead of your IP address, like P1, IP1, instead of IP1, the packet will send with IPA only. Means this system thinks the packet is received from this machine only, not from here. Okay. It
Yes, ma'am.
is like you want to talk to someone. So you send your friend. Your friend said his words. What happened? Okay. So like instead of like instead of sending packet with this IP address, it will send with their own IP address. So for security and other reasons also. That's a proxy.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Yesterday I told one thing, right? That is power set animated. Power set animated. Watch that video also, proxy. And compulsory three things. One is yes, what is VPN and what is proxy, because VPN and proxy almost all nearby. Nearby. Okay. Proxy, VPN, NAT means public and private. Okay. Next, last one, jump server. This is a new one, jump server. Okay. If we can get it all these things from any place, but better to go with the set animated. Why it is animated way of explanation? You will understand, you will get doubts, and you can understand the differences also. Okay. VPN, proxy, if possible, reverse proxy, NAT and PAT, public and private, jump server. Okay. These are the things. Very good one. So guys, take a break. So then we're going to discuss about a work group and domain. Before we start a work group and domain, we're going to discuss about individual system and work group and domain, difference between work group and domain, and an Active Directory part also. Come back at 4.